Power BI, all to visualize your data. But you're going to focus on two major ones, and then you'll get to look at things like Python later on. So I want us to click on this link that says W download in our in-call messages, or if you can access your WhatsApp, I've attached the same link. So let's just click on that link. It will direct us to our browser. So we have various W products, but I want us to focus first on the installation. So here you're going to fill in your information, your first name, your last name, your email. For all, to avoid so many questions, you can just use student. Because now this one is a free version. So you can fill in the information. For all, you can just use student. So take 2 minutes to fill in the information. On the very same page, when you click on that link, it will direct you to this page in our browser. So filling information, your region, email, last name, first name, last name. So you should not check this box unless you want to receive the marketing communication. But this one is not compulsory. Once you are done, you'll click on download the app. I hope I've not left anyone behind. The first step is to click on this link. So I've attached two links. One is there for the folder that we are going to make use of. Ensure you have this folder. So you can just download it from your end as well. And then we have the W download, the second option. So I want us to stick on the second option. Click on it. It will direct you to a page where you have to fill in your information. Fill in your first name, your last name, your role, use as a student, and then you click on download. So the download process doesn't start automatically. As you can see, it brings us to this other page that says thank you for downloading, even though the download has not started. So here we are going to click on any of these, depending with the machine that you're using. If you're using a MacBook, click on Mac. But if you're using a Windows machine, click on Windows. So once you click on it, you'll observe that under your downloads, downloading, so we'll give it time. So as it downloads, we can look at a few things about visualization. So we're going to start by discussing the definition of visualization. Visualization refers to the graphical presentation of your information. And now, when you have, remember, information or data refers to raw facts. Anything you have, as long as it's raw facts, then that is your data. Even if you have the name of a person, that is a data. If you have the name of a student, the name of a class, the name of an item, then that is a what we call data. So anything raw fact, it's just a collection of facts. So normally when you have these facts, like let's say I'm talking about the number of students that I have in my class. If let's say I have around 50 people in my class and I want to visualize their age, or maybe their salary range, or their courses, it becomes so difficult for me to explain to someone that using using data or raw facts like data that is in Excel form, just having columns and rows. But if I have visuals, it becomes easier for them to notice that maybe I have so many students who are taking the CBS course, or I have so many students who are taking the CBA course. So it becomes easier to make some comparison. So we are going to refer to visualization as the graphical representation of our data. So in this slide, you still have these notes in the same Drive folder that I've shared with you under the chat. So in case you are stuck, you can always refer back to this. It's a procedure telling you to click on this link. You'll be directed to a page that says you'll be exploring in minutes. You have to fill in your information. You have to click here to start the process, because sometimes it doesn't start automatically. So when we talk of visualization, I've said it's the graphical representation of information. And it becomes easier for you to see charts. Like once you see a chart, you look at maybe the length of your bar, the size of your slice, it becomes easier for you to see that this category is leading. And we have so many tools that we can use for visualization. First, we have this W, that's the most common. We have Power BI, we have Excel, we have Python, we have Looker, so many tools that we can use to visualize our data. So we are going to use Tableau because it's easy. Right now we are just starting, so it becomes easy for you to use a tool like Tableau because it doesn't require any coding knowledge. It's a drag and drop. So if you have a column called gender and you want to visualize number of students per gender, you just drag gender and you also drag the number of students. That way you are able to visualize. You don't have to code. So it's a drag and a drop. It's easy to use. So I hope by now we are done, almost done. So unlike tools like Python, where you are required to know maybe some libraries like Seaborn or even Matplot that will help you plot your chart. Now for this one, it becomes easier. You don't need any prior experience. Anyone who is new to this software can use it. So remember, I've said that there are key things that you are going to focus on. That is data. You'll hear me calling the name data so many times. And we've said data refers to raw facts, anything. If you have like the number of televisions in a shop, that is data, because now you are referring the number of televisions in that specific data, raw facts. If you have the number of shoes that you are selling in your shop, that is data. Number of students in a class, number of employees in a company, that is data. So when we have data in multiple rows and columns, we call that a data set. So for us to come up with a visual, we'll be using what we call a data set. So a data set is now a collection of multiple rows and columns. Like you have now students in a class. So maybe we have student identification. Then we have student name. We have the gender of a student. We have the course they are doing and the time they are doing the course. All that makes us have what you call a data set. So for a try to write this one here. I say that we might have something like name. So in Excel, you know that this is how the structure looks like. You have name, ID, you have age. So all this is what you call a data set, multiple rows and multiple columns. Because maybe this one is name A, name B, name C. They are ID number 1, 2, 3. Their age maybe 22, 47, and 30. So this is what we call data set. A data set is a collection of multiple rows and columns. So if you have to visualize this, you want to see the number of students who are below maybe 30, who are below 50, who are above 70, it becomes easier for you to use something like a chart. So for a chart, it can be a bar chart, pie chart, map, etc. It becomes easier for you to say that we have three students who are of age 47 rather than using a data set like this. So I want us to finish on installation first before we dive more into our data sets and how we are going to use them. So how do we get to visualize our data? We are just talking about visualizing graphical representation of information, but how are we going to visualize that? So we visualize using various charts and we'll get to discuss them later in detail. We have different charts like a pie chart, a map. We have charts like bar charts, line charts. These are some of the maps that we can even get using visualization. So let's say I have a Ugandan data set. I want to visualize maybe sales in Uganda, in Kenya, plus maybe Tanzania. So I want to compare all of them at once. I must not necessarily come up with all the cities in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, like that. Instead, I can just come up with a map visual like this. And now I get to see the cells in the various countries that we have. So let me confirm if from your end the download process is done so we can do the installation together. If your download process is done, you can confirm by show of thumbs up. Okay, so you can give it more time. As we wait for it, we can talk about the various Tableau versions. So we sometimes you'll hear people referring to various Tableau products. You must not necessarily use one. So for example, the one that we just downloaded is called Tableau Desktop. And the desktop version is a free version. You don't need to pay anything. But you get to use the various tools, various visuals, dashboards. You can even process your data. But we have something else like a Tableau Desktop. So we have different versions. That's why I told you to use the exact link that I shared. For Tableau Desktop, this one is still a data visualization tool. You can use it to create interactive dashboards and stories, but this one is a paid version. Unlike the free version, the one that we are using is called Tableau Public. This one. This one is a free platform that can help you transform your data into beautiful visualization, and you can share the same online on Tableau. But now for desktop, this one is a paid version. So as you download and you install, they will be telling you the number of free trials that you have. Once you're done, you can't use it unless you pay. We have the Tableau server. So for this one, you can publish, share, administer Tableau desktop content, and even dashboards. We also have the online version. So this one works on cloud Tableau analytics platforms. But now for this one, we use it based under companies. Maybe specific companies, you use it and then now you can access on the web or even the mobile app. We have the reader. The reader is a reader tool that can help you only view the Tableau desktop dashboard without having to download it. So this one is the same way we have these readers for files. maybe you don't have a Excel file in your app, but then you can use another reader tool to view the information. We have so these are the different products that we use. But now the one that asked you to download is this one, the W Public Free Platform. For this one, you won't be required to pay. But if let's say you go to W Public website, I think it's www.w.com. For that one, by default, I think we get what you call the desktop, but you can always select. So this one is a free platform. You can confirm here. It's written W Public. But then we have now the other versions that I've told you. We have the W desktop. Now for the desktop version, I've said it's a paid version. So let's take to the one that I've asked you to download, at least for that one, because we'll still do our analysis. So under W, you can be able to import data of various file types. So remember we have data, which we said it's a series or a raw facts, series of raw facts. You have your facts, and now your facts can be saved in different file types. You can have your facts saved as Excel, others will be saved in a database like SQL, others will be saved in OneDrive online platforms, others will be saved in statistical files like Stata or SPSS, Word documents. So Tableau can allow one to import files of various types. For example, if I have my data in PDF, I can still import it here in Tableau and use it. Or if I have my data in Excel, we know the Excel file format, I can still make use of it. Or if I have my data saved as a CSV, or what you call the comma separated values, or sometimes, so mostly for CSV, you will find it written as CSV stroke text, comma separated values. So you can import all these file types. You can import Excel, you can import the PDF, you can import the starter files, etc. So we'll get to see how we can make use of that. So I'm going to allow someone to share the screen so we can do the installation. So if you're in a position to share your screen, you can just go ahead and present kindly. I'll be guiding you.
Okay, I will.
Okay. So maybe you can close out that one. Don't minimize it, just close it. I want us to do it together.
You said I close,
Yes.
I minimize this one.
No, don't minimize, just close that box entirely. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So once you have your file in download, I want you to go to your folder where you have your file, downloads. So if you go to that file, you're going to double click on it. It will bring a pop-up window that says, welcome to Tableau. So you have to agree to the licensing terms before you install. So you don't have to read that. So we'll just check the box. I have read and accept the terms of the license. And now We also don't need the product usage unless you need them. So you must not necessarily check that box. So you will just ignore that one unless you want them to send the details on the email, and then now you click on install. So for the rest of it, I hope you have your file, you download file, and you started the installation process. Yeah, so this one is okay. After installation, this is now what's called the start page. So this one is okay. I think now you can stop sharing. Anyone else who's doing a challenge who is willing to share so we can do the installation together? So kindly confirm if you have the software before we start on the interface. Daphne, Charity, Ivan. Okay. Okay. Anyone who doesn't have the app yet? So if you want to open the app, you'll just be searching it using the start window, or if you saved it under your desktop, anywhere, you just locate it. Just search for it and you open it. Hi, Ruth.
No.
So right now we are installing the software. So I want you to click on the link that I shared on WhatsApp, or even the link that I've shared right now under the in-call messages. So click on the second one called the tablet download. Click on tablet download. It will direct you to a page that looks like this. Just give me a minute. It will direct you to a page where you have to fill in your information, your name, the country that you're coming from, the role. Yeah, this page. So I was opening the other one. That's why I have this at the center. So once you are directed to that page, just fill in your information, your full name. For example, mine, I'm going to autofill your email. For the role, you can just use student, because if you have to use any other role, it will ask you another question. So to avoid all that, you just use student. Then your country, and then you click on download the app. Download the app. And we see that the process doesn't start automatically sometimes.
Oh, just a sec, mwalimu. On my landing page was after I disconnected. Uh, I'm to click open from W public, right?
Pardon?
Okay. Okay, can I just briefly share this my screen so that I can catch up with you?
It's all right. It's all right. I think you're breaking, so I can hear you clearly. So I think sharing your screen will be a great idea. So just go ahead and share.
Sorry.
Okay. I think this one is okay. Hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes. So I should wait until we get to this point. Eh?
Yes. Just give us a wait for Ruth.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
Ruth, once you're at this point, just click on the specific machine that you're using. If you're using a Mac, click on Mac. If you're using a Windows machine, click on Windows. So the download will take some time. It will take some time. So you will let us know once you are done. Meanwhile, we can go through the interface. So I need to ask someone to share their screen because my interface won't be the same like yours. For example, right now, if you have to look at my data, sorry, this is the same start page that you have from your end. Just that I have some files here. That's why now you can see that it's looking like this. But meanwhile, I can still try and explain that. But from your end, you should have this section as blank because you've not worked on any data set recently. So on the left, first we'll start with this top part. This is the icon for W, and then the W name. So this one is W public. If it's desktop, it will be written as W desktop. And then we have book one. You see the same way we open a file in Excel and it reads book one, book two, book three, like the general workbook. So inside those workbooks, you might have various sheets like sheet one, sheet two, sheet three. See, let me try and open one. Just give me a minute, please. So I want to open the Excel file where we can use it for reference. If you open any file in Excel, it comes as workbook one, workbook two, and inside that workbook usually have things like sheet one. So you see this one comes as book one, Excel, and then now you have sheet one here. You can have another sheet, the same way we were doing, I think, for statistics. So that's what we call workbook. So in Tableau, it's just like any other word processor. Here we have the name file. We won't be using this file mostly, but this file can help you open a new one, or you control N. I've said they have kind of similar functionalities to other word processors. You can control or you just click on open to open a new one. And I think these ones are now the various files that someone has used recently to work with Tableau. So we have also here this icon here for Tableau. It's the same. Just that if you click here, it will bring you to another feature that we call worksheet. You will get to see that later. We have the connection area or the connection pane. So I talked of having files of different file types. We have files that come in Excel format, those that come in a CSV format or what we call the text files. We have those ones that come as a JSON file, the Microsoft Access, PDF, special files, statistical files, etc. So they all have different ways of connecting. It's more of the same, just that if you select a file that is saved as a CSV or comma separated, and you open it under Excel, you won't find that file. You see, normally when you are saving your file, I'll try and use the same Excel, this workbook. So I'll just Control S, and maybe save it under even download. So as you're saving your downloads, this one is going to be like your book one by default, unless you change the name. And then now we have the various types. You can save as Excel workbook, or if you click on this drop down, you'll see that we have various file formats. So maybe it saves the text, the CSV, the PDF, etc. Various file formats. So if your data is saved as a file format of CSV and you try to open it under Excel file, definitely you won't find it. So before you open a file, let's try and understand its data type, file type, before you proceed. So if it's an Excel file, it's easy to make a connection. But before we connect, I want us to click on the first link that I shared. Group you will let us know once you are done kindly. So I shared two files. We have one for the drive, which brings us back to our drive visualization folder, and the second one for download. So I want you to click on the one for visualization. I want you to click on one for visualization. So under this, we have the various file types that we're going to use. For the notes, the slides that I was presenting, they are in W1 and W2 as PPT. So you can access them as well. So I want you to download this file called the Superstore. So to download, you just click on it and you hit download, or you click on the drop down and then you download. So take a minute to do that before we proceed with the connection. Once you're done, you just respond by sure of thumbs up so we don't leave anyone behind. Not seen some response from other people. Kindly let us know if you have the file before you group. Also communicate. Let me know if you have the file so we can show you how to install. So I think we can now proceed. So once you have that file, I want you to click on Microsoft Excel because it's a Microsoft Excel file. But before that, I'll still open the same file under Excel. So we know the structure. So you can just click on the same file so that you can open it under Excel. The data is called super data. Okay, just a minute. This one is taking so much time to load. So as you open the file, you will notice that we have so many columns. We have so many columns, we have so many rows, around 9,994. Those are the number of cases that we have. Remember, in statistics, you got to look at something called the sample size. And the sample size refers to the total number of cases that you have in your data set. I think you use the formula equals count to see the count that you have. I think let me just open it under the folder. That one is taking so much time. So if you open such a file, the first thing, remember before you visualize, you need to have an objective. You can't just visualize something because you're supposed to visualize that. So before you visualize, you need to have some objective. That's why I'm asking you to download the file first so we can have a look at it, see all the columns that it contains, all the rows that it contains, because this is the data set that we are going to use for our analysis. So when you open the file, you realize that we have so many columns. We have so many columns, we have so many rows, and we have so many sheets as well. So the very first column that you get to see is, I think, order ID or something, row ID. So before you visualize, always the first step is to do some data cleaning. So for example, for this first row, you can notice that I have row ID and for the rest I have the numbers. So the best thing that I can do is to bold my headers first. I want to separate them from the actual data. So the very first step is to bold. So you can either click on the row where we have the number 1. If you click here, it will highlight everything in that row. Or if you click on a single one like this, it will only pick a single cell. So our intention is to pick out the entire row. So we'll click on 1 and we control B on our keyboard. Control B, or you click on the B here. So that now we differentiate our column headers from the actual data. So looking at this, you can see we have fields like the row ID, we have order ID, we have order date, we have ship date, ship mode, the customer ID, we have customer name. So in a scenario where you have a name like customer name that is not so visible, you can as well click now the one that is here, this kind of triangle like, to highlight everything. And I will just double click on any column name that you have. Like for example here where I have these lines. I don't know if you can see as I move my mouse around between B and C, that line, or C and D, any line. You just double click so that now they are all auto spaced. So we have things like customer name, we have various segments, we have the various countries, but I think here we only have one country, that is the United States, various cities in United States, various states in the United States, the postal code, we have the region, we have product ID, we have category, subcategory, product name. sales, quantity, discount, and also profit. So looking at this data, we can realize that it's very diverse data that is talking about so many things. Not only talking about the regions, but it's also talking about sales, the quantities that we sell, the various states. It's talking about the various products that we sell. So it's a very diverse data set that can really help us to visualize. So generally we can say that the superstore data set is kind of the same way we have like a company, energy company, lightning company, etc. So you want to focus on the various things that happen in that specific country or that company or anything. So superstore comprises of everything. So here we want to focus on this data set that is talking about now the specific things. Um, so here we have our orders table. Under our worksheet, we have the orders table. It has details about the orders. For example, we can see we have order ID, we have customer details like the names, the customer name. We also get to see various product categories, the way those products were being shipped, the sales and the profit of also those products across various categories. We have the returns table. This one is talking about the orders that were returned. Normally, if you have a company, it's not all the time that you'll get profit. Sometimes you sell something to a customer, they are not interested, they ask for refund. So this is a table that is going to show us that for the ID, remember this order ID, we have all the details here. So for this order, like the same way we have students and we want to identify them using like index numbers, unique identifiers. So we assign you a number that no one else is going to have that number. So if the order was returned, we get to see a yes. If it was not returned, we also get to see a no. We have the people. So people, these ones are the regional manager and their territories. So maybe the person guiding the Western region is called maybe Anna. We have maybe Chuck from the Eastern region, Kelly Central, like that, Cassandra from the Southern region. So these are generally people who are managers from their various territories. So this data set is mostly used to build dashboards and also to practice data visualization because as you can see, it has so many items. So we can link one to another. So let's say we want to do like shipping cost versus delivery time. We have all the details here. So as much as it's fictional, it's more of realistic to mimic the retail scenarios, whatever happens in the retail shops, scenario, supermarket, like that. So this is before you do any analysis, you need to go through your data and understand it. You can't visualize something that you don't know. So maybe after this is when you get to ask yourself, how many cells? Remember, we have this category here called subcategories. It has so many subcategories, around 17. We have bookcase, we have share, labels, tables. So we want to see for the bookcases, how many cells did we have? Cells did we have, sorry. But if you have to look at this data, you can see that we have here the name bookcase. Here we have cells. So unless you take this 261, go and take another one where we have bookcase, scroll down, look at chairs where we have chairs, binders, add to binders. That can actually take time if you have to present such a case to stakeholders. Remember, they don't have time, and some of them don't even understand how these things are working. So for you to best represent this information, we use now the visuals, various visuals. So we can go back to connecting our data. So this one is a Microsoft Excel file. So we'll click on Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel, the folder that you saved your file. This one is the sorry, the downloads. Under the downloads from your end, it should be among the very, very fast data sets. But from my end, because I had it a long time ago, I'll just search for it. It's called the Superstore. So you just select Superstore and you click open. You select Superstore and you click open. Let's give it time to execute that. So what we had before was is referred to as the start page. Start page. Like it lists like the connection areas. I think let me add in some information before I go back to that. This is what we had, the connection part. The connection part where we can connect to various file types. And then we have this open section. Just a minute, we are going back to the other one. We have this open section. So from the open section, you are able to open the recent files that you've been working on. So for example, here you can see we have the January intake, another session. We have the November intake, another session, November intake, another session. So these are the recent files that I've been working on in Tableau. And then, so that's on the open section. This kind of blue shade connection area, this one open section. And now on the very right, we have like the learning section. So under learning section, in case you need to watch the how-to videos, you need to explore the sample dataset that comes installed with the Tableau, then you make use of this. But I want us to stick to the connection area right now. So I'll go back to this other page after connecting Excel file. So this is what we call the data source page. Why is it called the data source? Remember we've said that data refers to raw facts. Data refers to raw facts. But now we have what we call the data source. So a data source refers to any location where now your data is going to originate from, or where you can access your data in when you're doing your analysis. So we call this the data source. Data source, remember I've said any location uh, where you can be able to access your data for analysis, pre-processing, like the origin of your data. So I want you to notice one. When we open the Excel workbook, the Superstore, it came as this simple, sorry, just a minute, let me go back to that. This Superstore, it came as a workbook. Remember, workbook comprises of everything. But inside workbook, we have worksheets. That's why we have here orders, we have returns, and we have people. If I add another one, it will be sheet, another sheet like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, according to how you will rename. So the same way happens in Tableau. We have our data, yes, but it comes in various sheets. So we have to select the data that we want to use. So let's say I want to start with orders. The same way, here we have orders. Where is it? The same way we have orders here, the very first sheet. So we want to load the data for our orders. We want to load data for our orders. So for us to have a preview, we'll be dragging and dropping. Tableau doesn't require any knowledge of coding. It's just a drag and drop. So right now we want to visualize orders. So we drag the orders from sheet section here. You see we have the connection, we have the Superstore, it's a Microsoft Excel file. Below it we have the named sheets. So these sheets comprises of all the sheets that we have in Excel, orders, people, return. So we'll take orders, drop here at the center in that open space. So as we drop, we'll get to see a preview of our orders. Remember, as we load like that, as we import our data, If you go to worksheet, you wouldn't have your data because you've not added this data to be used here. So for you to add your data, just drag like orders, drop here. It means that now you're going to have a preview of your worksheet, the worksheet order. So as we saw in Excel, the first one was row ID, order date, ship mode. If we have to confirm, you can see it's going to follow the very same order. Just give me a minute. If you have to confirm, you can see it's row ID, order date, ship mode, customer ID. So the best thing with a W is that it's going to list the number of fields that you have. By fields, I'm talking of the column headers, like the names, row ID, order date. So right now we can see that we have 21 fields. The table is ordered and we have 21 fields, and the total data that we have is 9,994 rows. If you have to confirm in Excel and you scroll down, you'll see that you have the 9994. So here we get to see the preview, the same thing that we have in Excel. If you have to adjust maybe and get a better view, just drag it like that. So here we get to see the fields as well. For example, the field order row ID, it comes from the physical orders like that. Maybe before we look at the various data types, I want us to add in all the files. Remember, this is not the all data that we have. In our workbook, we have orders, we have people, and we have returns. That means we still have something that is pending. So I want us to go back to our Excel and make some comparison. So when you're looking at the orders, we had row ID, order ID. So I'm going to change the color of this to red. The order ID, it's in color red. And we also notice that we have the very same order ID under our returns. Let's get rid of this sheet that we added. Under returns, we also have order ID. So order ID is the common one in returns and in people. So that means we can make a connection between the order ID here and also the returns here, so that we add some, it's like we want to add some information. For this column, it doesn't have returns, but this one has returns. But now, what are we going to use as our link? The order ID. We're going to make a connection between orders and returns using the column order ID as our guide. And now, looking at people, you realize that we don't have person, but we have region. We have region. So I want to make a connection between also these people and the data here, such that in case I want to visualize, I can still see that in the Western region, Anna was there. In the Southern region, Cassandra was there. So we want to make a connection. Like we want to link these three tables to be one. So I've said that orders is the common table. It has everything. But now for returns, the only link between returns and orders is order ID. And the only link between orders and people is region. So for us to make that connection, we'll take people, start with returns. For orders and returns, there was a connection. So be keen on how we are going to drop kindly. So we're going to take returns. Return, it's a drag and drop interface, remember. So we are going to take return, drag it, ensure that there's a line before you drop. So that line implies that you have a relationship between these two. Orders and returns, there was a connection which was order ID. So there will be a line. This line will tell us the type of relationship that we have, and it will also list the specific unions that, sorry, what do we call them? The specific key variable. So for example, once you click on that line, just give it a minute to execute everything. As you click on that line, you can see that the relationship that is listing is for orders and returns. And for these orders and returns, the only related columns that we have, the only related columns that are listed, we can see are the order ID. The only relationship that are listed, just give it a minute. So we right click. Or even if that's taking time, you can still make use of this. It lists the type of relationship that we have down here. The operator, you can see under orders, we have order ID. Under returns, you also have order ID. So that tells us the type of connection that we have for the two tables. But we realized that there was no connection. There was no connection between returns and people. Why? Returns had a column name called returned and it had order ID. But now for people, it only had person and region. So there's no common ID. So if I have to make a connection, like let's say people, and I bring the connection here, it will bring an exclamation mark because there is no link. There's no link between returns and people, as you can see. It's one alert, and when you click on it, it says relationship returns to people. That relationship can't be automatically created. You have to edit whatever. So that means there is no connection. So anytime you try and make a connection between two tables that are not linked, that's what you will be getting, an exclamation mark to show that there is no link. And now if we notice that there was a connection between orders and people, so I'll check people and ensure that there is a line from orders. I'm not going to draw a line from returns. Instead, it's going to be orders to people, orders to people, because there's only a connection between those two. So this is what we'll get. This is what we'll get. And this only means that we have a connection between orders and people, and we have another connection. You see it will list the related fields, and we also have another connection between now what do you call this one, the returns and the orders. So this is how your relationships should look. So I'll use an example. I'll use a small example in Excel using the open dataset. So I want to create random dataset. I want to create a random dataset. So I'm going to call this one maybe school data. Maybe I have I students. I have the name. I have the maybe math scores. I have religion scores. I have their religion. So all this information I'm getting it in one worksheet. Getting that information in one worksheet. Okay, religion. So this is what we have in one worksheet. And then in another sheet, you don't have the full information. Instead, you have also the ID for that student, you have the name, and you have now maybe a course, like maybe science, like that. So you see, you have different types of information in separate sheets. And there's a way that you can combine all this information into one. So assuming this one is a student ID number A1, let me type as A1, this one as A2, this one as A3. And now for their name, okay, you can assign some names. For these IDs, we still have the same student, A1, A2, and maybe A3. That's their identifier. So this information, if you have to do your analysis as a teacher, you need all the subjects before you say that this student passed their exams or they failed their exams. But now you realize that you have one information in one worksheet, another one in another sheet. You can make a connection using what we call join. So there's a connection, you'll get to learn this as well under queries or when you're doing SQL. So we have something called joins. We have something called joins. It means that you have your data in various sheets. So the only thing that you need is a unique identifier. You need a unique identifier. So in this case, we can look at our identifier as ID. Because we can't have student A1 and then in another class we also have student A1. Normally in an institution or in a company, every other employee will have their own ID, their own number. So you use that identifier to make a connection between the two tables, that is sheet 1 and sheet 2, using the common variable called the ID. So for joins, you must have a common variable, that is ID or unique identifier, such that now if you have to join these tables, you'll end up with another column, sorry, not another column, but you're going to end up with another table that now has ID, name, your math scores, and then now you have your religion, and then there was another one. For the other sheet, I think I used, okay, I don't remember the name, but let's say it's agriculture. So you're going to end up with now one worksheet that contains everything rather than having your information in separate sheets. I hope that is clear. Or maybe if anyone has a question, kindly let me know.
You haven't applied the joint, so how do you apply it?
Pardon, I think there's an echo from your end. There's an echo from your end, so the question wasn't so clear. Kindly repeat.
How do you apply the? Oh, you can hear me now.
Yes, yes.
How do you apply the joint?
To apply the joint, sorry, I hope you can hear me. To apply the joint in
Yes.
W, you just do this. Initially, I think let me get rid of this so we can do it together.
We do it via Tableau, not the Excel.
Yes. So right now we want to focus on Tableau.
Okay. Okay.
So we are using
Okay.
but initially with all the versions, you were supposed to look for the specific one and say that now you want to perform this type of merge. So we have different types of joins, like we have one to one, we have one to many, many to many, many to one, etc. So initially you were supposed to identify that and say that now the common ID is a other ID, so I want to do a one-to-one join. But with this latest versions, you don't have to do that. Just pick your columns and you drop. Tableau will pick automatically for you. And in case there is no connection, that's when you'll get that error, exclamation mark with an alert, showing you that this is not possible. So right now in Tableau, it's kind of easy, but initially you were supposed to do it manually, which was taking time and also maybe confusing, but you'll get to see that also under SQL. So this is what you call a connection. So this means that right now our three tables are connected. I can access all my information in a single data pen. I don't have to refer back to this, then go back and get another workbook that has people alone, then get another one that has regions alone. So this makes it easier. It makes it easier for us to see the different relations. So before I talk about another type of uh, merging, so we are talking about merging right now. We have joins and we have unions. So before I talk about unions, I want us to look at data type. I want us to look at data type. So as we all know, your file is going to be recorded in different data types, or your data is going to be recorded in different data types depending with how it's stored. So basically a data type is a classification that is going to let you know how your computer is going to read a specific value that is stored or that is being processed. So for example, if I have a name like, I'll go back to this one. If I have a name like A1, A1, this one is going to read as a text because of this A1. If I have a name like, say, this name of Charity, Charity. If I have the name Charity, this one is going to read as a label. It's more of something descriptive. You have a name of a person, name of a class, name of a place, more descriptive or giving label. Uh, why do I refer to it as a label? The same way you know that this thing is this thing. Like you give it a label or you give it a name. That now refers to text type of data. Or now the data type that you're talking about is text. So for text, mostly you will find it written as string. So it's either text or string. In Excel, it's under this general, though we're not supposed to do this under Excel. I'm just using it to show you the various data types. This one, it will be text, the data type. But now what happens if you have exams like 56? 56 is a number. 56 is a number. And under numbers, we have two major types of data type. We have integers. An integer is a number that doesn't have a decimal point. If I have a number like 56, that is an integer. And if I have a number like 56.0, okay, let me use just a minute. I have a number like 56.0. That one is not an integer, but this one is a float. So any number that has a decimal, we refer to them as float. Though they are the same. We also have maybe here in another region or maybe country. Country, as much as it's going to look like it is text, something that has like a geographic role. We can plot this in a map. So this one now becomes, um, this one becomes, what do we call it? It has now a geographical role. Kenya, we can plot that. You can plot the country, you can plot US, etc. But now, if you have something like a date, if you have something like a date, so for a date, I don't have to type it in Excel manually. I can just hold on control, is it control colon or control colon? Where we have colon on your keyboard, control colon, and it will pick today's day. So this one is a date format. This one is a date format, values that represent the calendar dates or timestamps. Because sometimes you'll have dates and time at the same time. So those are the various file types, sorry, data types. File type is different from data type. So under these, when you're working with your visualization, it's really important to work with the correct data type. Why am I saying it's important to work with the right data type? If you have a name, if I have like a value like 7 plus 8, this one is going to give me 15 because they are integers. Or even if I use 7.0 plus 8.0, this one will give me 15.0. This one will give me 15.0. But now what happens if I have something like 7 that is in quotes? So any number that is in quotes will always be a text. So yeah, so if I have like 7 plus 8, this one is not going to give me 15. Instead, this one will give me 78. So it's actually really important to work with the right data type, or else you will get wrong results for your data and you will interpret your results wrongly, which will bring losses to your business if it's a business dashboard. So I've said anything written in text. If you have like the name Mercy, so text types or the string types will always be written in a quotes, single quotes, double quotes, triple quotes, any of them. But if I have a number, even if it's an integer, 7 is an integer, and I put it in quotes, that means that number is no longer an integer, that number is a text. So if I have to add this, I'll get 78 instead of 15. So how you present your data types actually matters. So we'll just go through this. So I think for Superstore, it's clear. There's another data that we'll use that has wrong data type, but we'll just confirm that. So before you do any visualization, you have to go through this preview. It's really important. So for example, for the first one, row ID, you can see we have numbers like 1, 2, 3, whatever. That's a number. So how do we change the data type? Numbers are written as hashtag. So here under hash, if you click on it, the hash symbol that is just above the order's name here, you can see it's a number and it's a whole number. Sometimes for other applications, you will find it written as integer. And then we have a number decimal. So if it was like 1.0, then we could have used the number decimal. That is for orders, so that one is okay. For order ID, we have the name CA. As long as we start with any letter, CA, A, O, whatever, that becomes a string type of data. So for a string, they are usually depicted by ABC. If you check here, you can see it's string type. Usually they will have the symbol ABC. If you go to order date, this is a type of data. You can see the icon for calendar. You can confirm it under date type. For ship date, the same. Ship mode, the same. So we actually need to confirm so that we don't mess with our analysis. We want to come up with the right thing. Segment ABC. Country, it has a geographic role. That's why you can see like we have a globe. So this one picks the geographic role, though as you click on here, sorry, just give me a minute, let me go back to that. As you click on the string here, this one is checked automatically. By default, you get to see it's also checked automatically, it picks. But now if we have to expound on the geographic role, if you have to check, because it's definitely under geographic role, you can still see it's listed as country region. Country stock region to show us that we want to work with the region. But if it's the cities, the states, the airport, we also select that. For states, you can see we still have the globe for that. For region, it's ABC. Because why are we having now region as ABC instead of globe? Because for these regions, we have east, west, south, and I think central. So for that one, we are not specific. Like, for a country, we know that Uganda is at this place. If you have to draw the map of Africa, we know that Kenya is at this place, or we know that US is in this place in their specific continent. So for that, we know that where they sit clearly. But remember, you can have the eastern region for the Kenyan people can have their eastern region, Ugandan people can have their eastern region. So for this region, we are not specific. We have a product ID, it's still ABC because of this bar. We have the category like that. So you need to confirm the data type before we move. So I want us to try out another one, but before that, I want to confirm if we are together or if anyone has a question. Anyone who is stuck? Yes, Amy.
I'm not stuck, but I'm using two gadgets, phone and laptop, just so to follow up as I do it practically. Now, from what you presented, what have you achieved today in terms of data visualization on my screen? I just want to get like so far what we've done with the mini data that we have on that Excel.
You still need a connection, but you've
Or
not
connect.
done anything. Right now, we're just going through the data and see how to connect our files to Tableau.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Right, so before we'll start with visualization, the actual visualization maybe tomorrow. So on this data source page, I said that this is what you call a data source page. It's different from this. These are start page. Start page comprises of everything like this. But now the data source is going to hold your data that you're going to use for pre-processing, analysis, and everything. So under this data source, we have some items that we've not looked at. These are the sheets, the name of our data set, the preview section, but we have this section here called filters. We have a section called filters. So these filters, we have two major types of filters, though we'll get to look at that later. We have what you call the global filters and local filters. So for global filters, it means that you are applying that filter everywhere in your analysis. Like even if you add so many sheets, that filter is going to be applicable. But now local filters, it means that it's going only to be applicable on that specific sheet. So for example, if I have to take in a filter, like you see right now it's at 0, filters is reading 0 and add. If I have to click on add, it will open this pop-up window called filter, scope, details, add, edit, remove. So under add, I'll click on add, and I can say I can work with category. We have around 3 categories. Sorry, I think we're not so familiar with the various categories. Let me use region because it's easy. So for region, we got to see that we have east, west, south, and is it east, west, south, and central. So as you open that filter, you realize that now we have all this. So let's say I pick a filter and say that I don't want to see eastern region anywhere. And I say east. It means this east is going to be exempted everywhere in our analysis. I won't get to see the east. So if I have to click OK, it means that I've exempted my filter for east. Sorry, this one I'm keeping. We have keep and then remove. I'll get to show you the difference. So now you can see that under filters we have one, and it's called edit. But under edit, you can add another one. You can have more than one filter. So that's an edit section. So I don't want to mess with it right now, so I'll just remove. But when we're visualizing, I'll come back to this so you can see the change. So for you to remove it, you just click on it again. Comes in color red and it activates the box below it. So you click remove and you click OK. And this one now goes back to 0. So that's on filter section. There's another way of adding a filter here, but there's another way of using filters inside the worksheet. Something else is here, this worksheet. So remember we are still on the interface. So this worksheet here is called sheet 1. Same way in Excel we had a sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So this sheet 1, if I click on it, I don't want to click on it, but let me just go to it. If I click on sheet 1, if I click on sheet 1, it will bring us now to what we call the worksheet interface. Worksheet interface. This is how it looks like. So if you're working with the actual data, this is where you get to visualize your data. It's like you pull category from here, add in cells, and now you come up with, it brings a bar chart that is going categorical cells like that. So this is what you call a worksheet. This is what we call a worksheet, where we're going to do our visualization. Worksheet is a space that is going to help us do the visualization. So I don't want to talk about, maybe let's see if we can make another connection first, then we'll come back to worksheet from tomorrow maybe. So I'm going to go back to my data source. I'll just click on data source here. And I'm going to add another connection. You see up here under connections, we have Superstore. So I'm going to click on add. So as I click on add, it will bring the start page that was helping us connect the various file types. So this time I want us to try out the PDF file. So from your end, under the same folder that I shared, there's a file called the Amazon PDF. Under the same folder that I shared, locate a file called the this one, Amazon stock. It's a PDF file, download it. Download it from the folder that I shared. So before we get to look at it, I'm going to open it. The data is arranged first. Because it's taking a different structure. It's not the very same structure that we are so familiar with. So I'm going to open it. I don't know how I saved it. I think it's N or something. Yeah. So the Amazon stock. I'm going to open it as a PDF. So the challenge with this data is that our data is not running from all the pages. Our data is not running from all the pages. The first page, it has like a summary statistic. We're talking about Amazon stocks from the various months from January to December 2016 to January, April 2017. So this way, we're able to see that under 2016, January had 601, February 531, March 572, all the way up to December. Then 2017, January 808. Then below that, we have a graph, like a line chart, showing us how the sales were behaving over time. How many sales we had over time from January 2016 all the way up to April 2017. So this is just a summary table. But now we want to work with the actual data. We don't want this summary. We want to work with the actual data. And as we scroll down, you can see that our data is running from page 2. Page 2 is when we get to see the data. Page 2 all the way up to page 8. As we scroll down, you can see that. So why am I using this example? Because sometimes you're not going to be given your data in, like, the problem with the data analyst or data scientist, you're not going to be asked to visualize. Everyone can visualize data. The hardest part is to clean that data. So sometimes you're not given your data as like Excel files or text files, CSV or queries, database. You are given a very dirty data that you are now required to clean. So for example, if someone gives you search and they are asking you to visualize the specific fields that you have, definitely it's going to be challenging for you to do this. So there's a way that we can import this in W. There's a way that we can import files that are data that don't run from page 1 in W. So we'll go under W. Under W, we added in another source, so add, but this time it's a PDF file. For this PDF file, I think it's called the Amazon stock. So we locate the Amazon stock. And now there's a pop-up that comes. I'll give you a minute to do that. Take a minute to download the data, add a connection. The file type is PDF. Then select. Okay, so I think we can proceed unless anyone is stuck and we should wait for them. So as we open the PDF, we realized that our data was running from page 2. So definitely here we can't say that we are going to select all, because this one reads, specify the pages to scan for data. Our data is not in all the pages, but if let's say our data was running from page 1, we didn't have that summary page, then we could have used all. So it could have been simple all and then okay. If our data was on a single page, like let's say page 5, then we just select page 5. But our data is running on a range of data. It's not on a single page. So what we are going to do is to select range, and we have our start page from page 2, and our end page is page 8. So the scan counts the first page of the file as page 1 and ignores the page numbering used in the file. So after we are done, we just click OK. So we are done, we just click OK. So now I want you to realize that right now under our connections, we have two different types of file. We have Excel file and we have PDF. Why are we having two files? We didn't open a new worksheet. Remember to open, we said you can control N or go to file and then new, here, new, but we didn't do that. Instead, I just added another connection. That's why we have two of them here. But now for these two, I think I'll get rid of what we have in our connection already. I really hope that one is not going to confuse you, but we'll still redo it tomorrow before we start with the visualization. So for us to make a connection, you can just click on that drop down and say remove. But if you feel like it will confuse you, you can just control N and make a connection from another page. So no harm, because we are still with this tomorrow. So under this page, you notice that our data was running from page 2. So meaning page 2 is going to act as sheet 1, sheet 2, page 3, like that. That's why now under our connection, we have page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, all these under the sheet. Page 2, 3, all the way up to 8. Because we specified and say that we want to visualize our data from page 2. So for us to make this connection, before we do that, I'm going to use a simple example. The very maybe same example that I used here. So we had these students. We have these students. Maybe they are the very same students. these students, their exams 45, maybe this one is 78, their country is maybe TZ, maybe this one is coming from Kenya. So we want to visualize this, but this one is semester one exams. Okay, this one is semester one exams. And then for another sheet, we have the very, very same student, but now we have semester two. Like you have the same data, different timelines. Or I'll use an example of a business. So for this one, you can have the very same columns, the same names, but different scores. Or a business scenario where you have monthly sales for January. Remember, maybe you sell the same product. You've not introduced anything new. So in your shop, you sell shoes, you sell clothes, you have dates, you have returns. So those are the columns that you have. Next month, you still have the same. The only thing that has changed is time. This was recorded during this time, this was recorded during this time. So for us to make the connection, remember we are talking about same column. If you have ID, you have name, you have science. So maybe the scores for this were for 2014, and then these ones are 2015. So you can see we have the very same column names ID, name, science, ID, name, science score. So that's what we have. And now for us to make a connection and say that these two are related, we want to use what we call joins this time. This time we are going to make use of something called unions. So unions is kind of different. Union, it means that all your column names have the same names. So union is same to append. Like you have something, so you're just adding something else. So looking at our data under the PDF, you realize that we have things like the open, the close, the volume, things like that. And then in another page as well, we have the very, very same column names. That's why we are doing unions. So anytime you're working with your data and you realize that you have the very same columns, you just need to add this data on this. I'll use an example of database. So let's say I'll use an example of our school. So let's say we have the January intake people. We have the we have the March intake, we have the May, we have the July, we have the September, and then we have the November. So those are the students from various intakes for a year. But then I want to get all this information for all these students in a single page. So maybe we want to highlight those people who are going to graduate. We want to prepare maybe venue, things like that, food, everything. So for us to get that, we must combine those people from January because they are all our students, having the very same details, same courses that we offer, etc. So we combine them into one. We use union. So for union in Tableau, it's kind of different, not the same way that we are doing the join. So taking the first table, drag and drag in the first table. So you just hold on the first table, you're going to drop it at the center, like that. So you see this one is going to read page 2, table 1. Page 2, table 1, we have a preview. Let's give it time to preview everything so that it reads here the number of rows that we have and the number of columns. Yeah, so you can see we have 7 fields. By fields, we are talking about this date, open, high, low, close, whatever. If we have to count them, they're going to be 7. So that's the first table. I want you to be keen on these values, how these values are going to change as we add in another table. So that was page 2. If you have to take in page 3, you also take it, but this time you're not going to draw a line like we were doing like this. You have to put it kind of on top of this other one until you see the name union, but that union shouldn't be colorless like this. It should be colored. That orange color should be filled in, and then you draw. So put it on top allow the color to be orange, and then you draw. So now you realize that our values changed. From 47, we are now at 95, just by adding table 3. If I have to add table 4, remember, put it like on top, kind of on top, and then move it kind of downwards until you see that it's colored, and then you draw. We expect the values to change, let's give them some time. I think I dropped as a line, that's why it comes as an alert, because there's no link. So anytime you drop in the wrong place, that's what you'll be getting. So to get rid of it, you just click on the drop down and then remove. So that way can be a bit tricky, and can be time consuming, because now you really have to be careful. So I'm going to show you another way. So far we've only added in 2 tables. I hope up to that point we are together.
I have a question, Malik.
Yes.
Um, how are we adding the PDF into the Excel?
No, we didn't
I think
start.
I missed on that
Okay.
somehow.
You see this under connection, there's a section called add.
Yes.
So just click on that add.
Yes, I've clicked.
It brings the startup page. So you just click on a PDF,
Yes.
that start page, PDF, and now you
Yes.
select the file, the Amazon store.
Yes, I already did that. I already have the pop-up for the table plus all the pages and the tables.
But you still have
Um,
Superstore down here.
sorry.
So you're talking about having Superstore, the orders or returns and whatever. You still have it in the data source page here.
Yes, I have the orders, the people, and the returns. That's the data from the Excel.
Oh, okay.
But now, yes, I'm not sure on how you are going about the PDF.
It's all right. So first, you can either change from this point and say that it's a new data source that you want to work with. Just say that it's a new data source. You see the here it will open this PDF where you can click on that. That's the longest way. We don't want to go that way, so I'll stick to this. Just click on this drop down and say remove.
Uh, okay.
So after you remove, it comes as blank, and now you add in the data for your Amazon. Like page 2, you drag.
Okay.
So I've shown you the other way, but that one can be a bit tricky. Sometimes you might not even know whatever you are adding. So to be safe, I usually recommend clicking on this drop down. After your first table, you just click on
Okay.
sorry, let's add in the second one first. So I think for the other one we had added in. So let's take page 2. For you to drop, just move it up here, and then you move it downwards a bit until that color is orange. That's when you get to drop. And now the values change from 47 to 95 or 90 something. So after that, I want us to click on the
A
drop
question,
down.
a quick one.
Yes.
Quick one. Mine is not changing to the side
Okay, let me see your screen.
to 95.
Let me see your screen. See
Okay.
how you are dropping.
Hope you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, now this is the first one. We are at 7 and 47, 7 fill 48 rows. So this is the second one. So it's until it changes to that color.
Then you.
Then I release the mark.
Yes.
Yes.
Not changing. So click on the drop down. Let me see if from your end you'll be able to use that option before changing the other one. So click on the drop down.
This one.
Yes, yes. And now say convert to union. Convert to union. And now we are going to drag in the tables manually. Like you see, you have page 3 in your view. You had not added in page 2. So we are adding page 2 just above that page 3.
It's below. So
Or you can even get rid of it. Like just get rid of the page 3.
oh, okay.
Okay. So now start with page 2. First one. Go to page 3. Below that one, page 4. So for others, if you've already added in like the second one, it comes as edit union. But if you've not added in anything, just say convert to union. It will open this pop-up where now you have to select everything all at once. 5, 6, 7, 8, all the tables that you need.
So what could be the challenge on my end? If I would like just to understand from technical perspective, even though there's an option, so what was the trigger to not converting it to that,
I don't know what was happening. I really can't tell what was happening because I can see the way you are dropping it was correct. Sometimes there are some glitches. So maybe we can just say it's a glitch.
Okay.
Page 8.
Thank you.
So the same way after you drop, you can
So
still share
I
your
need, I
screen.
need to apply or okay?
Yes. You can still
Okay.
share your screen though. So the same way, click on apply first. So we don't close the box. So the same way, after even if you have to do it manually, you will always have to come back to edit union so you can confirm all the tables. Confirm if you have all the tables. Sometimes you might even have a repetition. Maybe you have 2 tables repeated. So you need to come here to confirm that all your tables are here. But now this only happens, the drag and drop, the manual work only happens if you have like few tables like we have. But now what happens if you're working with a company, you want to analyze data from 1969 all the way up to 2026. And we're talking about in months. That is January, December, January. So those are so many charts. So in such a scenario, you can use, you see that was the specific manual. So in such a scenario, there is an option on the other end called wildcard or automatic under the same pop-up. Yeah, for that one. So we just say that you want this table under this, and we want to include all of them. So you can see here we have include and exclude. If you click on that table drop down where we have the name include, you can see we have include and exclude. So maybe you have the tables, some tables that you want to include, you say include and then the asterisk, or you just leave it as it is. Or you exclude if there's anything that you want to exclude. So if you have a lot of data, that's how you do it. But if there are only few tables like this, you can just do the manual work. So after that, you click OK.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's on connections. You'll get to see so many connections as we proceed, as you look at SQL, as you look at Python, you'll also be able to see the various files that you can add. So now assuming you're working with a company's database, so now this, remember all these that you're working with are historical data. So now assuming you're working with an actual company data, you see that most companies use W. Yeah, most companies use Tableau to visualize their data. So they automate the process. So maybe they only set times to refresh, like let's say 8 p.m. or 8 whatever, so that now it picks. Your visuals pick automatically without you having to go back and download the data, then import. So in such a scenario, you can connect to server. Your server that you're using, we have a demo option. the various servers that you can make use of. So I think I will have to welcome questions at this point because of time, and then I will pick up from there tomorrow. Any question or any challenge doing anything? So for these files, because we've mixed them and we're not going to make use of all of them. For example, for this Amazon, you can just remove it. Like if you don't want it, you no longer need it here, you can just remove it. But if you want to use all of them, you can just retain. But we can't use all of them because they're not related. But sometimes you might have different files of different data from different file types. Maybe you have your data, one in Excel, another one in PDF, another one in a CSV file format. But all these files are important and you need to use them in your visual. So that's when we get to talk about something called data blending. You blend data from different file types and merge them into one. So we also get to see that later, but you can also research on that. So one last thing that I can show you is to save the file. So we can at least start from somewhere tomorrow. So to save the file, you click on File. You click on File. We have various ways of saving. For W Public, we can save online, but I want us to save in our local machine. So we are going to save as. If you save, it will bring us back to W Public, the online version where now we have to sign up, sign in. It will take a lot of time, so we'll do that later. Or save to W Public. But we can't save to W Public because we've not done anything. That's why it's grayed out. So we are going to save as. Save as. So for your end, but save anywhere you want. I think I can save it under the download maybe. So for your end, maybe you can save it as a superstore analysis because you want to look at superstore analysis. But from my end, I just save it as January 530. But from your end, you can save it as superstore analysis. So there are two file formats. Kindly give me a minute to talk about this. Two major file formats, TWB, the same way like we've been saving Excel files, or if you save a Word document, .doc, PPT, XLX, data file types, SPSS, SAV, like whatever, the various file types. So here, we also have two major file types, the TWB and the TWBX. TWB means that you are saving without the data. You see the data that we have just imported. So it becomes difficult for someone who doesn't have that data to open your dashboard. So I recommend saving as TWBX to show that you are saving your file with its data. So in case you share, even if it's an assignment you share with me, it becomes so easier for me to open the file. So I'll just to save as TWBX and you click on save. Click on save. So once we save, from tomorrow we are going to find it. So from tomorrow, when you come to open your file, at least you also get to see it's here. So you can just pick up from there. I think you get to see that after you've started working with your visuals. But tomorrow now you don't have to open like and start from scratch. So if there's no question, we can end our class. I'll send the class recording before the day ends. Any question before we end our class? Thank you.
Yeah, one question, Malimo. How did we remove the PDF from the Tableau?
Okay, let me show you that. I said
Okay.
under the data source. So you see there are two of them here. So you just click on that drop down.
Yes.
You can't remove this one because it's only one. So you just click on that and you remove.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other
All
question?
right, thank you. I think I've seen it.
All right, any other question? All right, thank you so much for joining the class today. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5:30.